Okay, I just switched over my camera, so if you missed the first part, we are creating a Henry Matisse snail. You're going to need some paper. You're going to also need some scissors, glue stick, something to color with. I'm using markers, and a pencil. So this is what we're going to be creating. We're going to be doing a collage. And I'm going to get my paper ready. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to think about what the warm and cool colors are. I'm going to start with my first piece of paper. So warm colors are this half of the color wheel. So red, orange, and yellow. Things that make you feel warm, such as a campfire, spicy peppers. So think about warm colors, red, orange, and yellow. Cool colors are the other side of their color wheel. So things that make you feel cool, like cool grass, water, those types of things. So warm colors, cool colors. So I'm going to think about those color families, and I'm going to start coloring my paper to create my collage. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to divide my paper in half, and I'm going to use two colors for my warm side, and I'm going to use two cool colors for my cool side. So I'm going to start with my warm colors first, and I'll do red and orange this time because I did red and yellow for this one. So all I did was I just made some stripes. You guys can do it any way you want to. I might switch it up a little bit in just a minute. And again, I'm using my warm colors first. Looks like my marker's kind of running out of ink here. I've used these markers a lot, so that happens. Okay, and then I'm going to use my other warm color, and maybe, you can do all three warm colors if you want. I'm just going to stick with two. And I'm going to fill in my white space with orange. Now, if you want to create some kind of different design with your warm colors, you can. If you want to add polka dots or, crisscross lines or little scribbles, anything you can think of to fill up this white space. I might actually have to use a little bit of yellow because it looks like I'm running out of ink with this one too. So I'm using the side of my marker because I have a little bit more control. If you use the tip of your marker like this, it's going to take a lot longer. Okay, so I'm using the side of my marker because it goes a little bit faster and it makes it look a lot neater. Nice smooth lines, and it fills up space nicely. So we're creating a collage today. If you don't know what a collage is, hopefully you watched the Henry Matisse video that I posted as well to learn a little bit more about the artist Henry Matisse. But he's very famous for collage. And collage is when you take any object, it can be paper, it could be magazine pieces, photographs, string, buttons, and you glue it to a surface, such as paper. So our collage is going to be cut pieces of paper on top of another piece of paper. That's called a collage. Okay, so this side is pretty good. I'm going to do my cool colors now. So I have an option. I can use green, blue, or purple. I'm going to pick two of those. I did green and blue last time. I'll do purple and blue this time. And I'll do a different design maybe this time. I'll do crisscross. So Henry Matisse, he was a French artist. He was really well known for his bright colors, his use of color. He was a sculptor and a printmaker, and he was really famous for his paintings. But as he got older, he got sick, he had cancer, so he couldn't really do painting and sculpting anymore. That was a little bit too difficult for him, so he started cutting paper. He called it painting with scissors, and that's when he was cutting different shapes and gluing them to a piece of paper. If you look at my slideshow that I posted in where you got this video from, it shows a big picture of some cutout shapes, and that's called his snail. It's called the snail. So that's what we're inspired by to create our own snail today. And he called it cutouts, and that's when he started doing his collage. So that's our inspiration for today, is Henry Matisse. His name is actually pronounced Henri because he's French. Henry Matisse. Hopefully I said it right. I don't know French. I do not know how to speak French. There. I'm filling up my white space now with my blue. And I'm going in the same direction, but I'm going to do crisscross. So maybe I'll have my lines go in the opposite way, go the horizontal way. Right now I'm going vertically. Vertical is up and down. Horizontal is side to side. So I'm gonna go this way now. And it's adding a different texture. Texture is how something feels. So I'm adding a different texture to my picture. There, I think I filled up most of my space. Good. Okay, so now for the cutting part. Get your scissors ready. I'm actually going to use my small ones. And make sure you're always cutting away from yourself, not cutting towards yourself, because that will hurt. So I'm going to start by cutting my paper in half, dividing up my warm and cool colors. And I'm going to make strips. So there's my paper cut in half. I have 2 pieces. Now I'm going to cut my cool colors in half, right down the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'll cut my warm colors in half, right down the middle. This helps me make sure it's a little bit even. Now I'm going to cut each one of these pieces. You should have 4 pieces. If I'm going too fast, you guys can always rewind on the video. So I'm going to cut each one of these pieces in half now. So if I have 4 pieces, if I cut each one in half, I'll have double the amount of strips. I will have 8. So I'm going to cut this piece, this quarter, in half. I'm going to cut this piece in half. So now I have 4 cool colors, and then I'm going to cut this one in half. And I'm going to cut this one in half. Okay, so now I have 8 pieces, or eighths. 8 pieces from a whole. So I'm going to now make a little pile, and I'm just going to cut these into squares, not rectangles like this. You don't want to see that. Okay, oop, there's the bell. You want to cut them into squares. I'm going to cut that little piece off. Okay, and I'm going to make a pile of squares, and I'm going to go a little bit fast. You may not use all of these squares for your project today. You know what? You can save them for something else. Maybe you want to make another collage, or maybe you want to add them to your frame when we do our frame to make it look fancy, because pieces of art always have a nice frame around them. Not always, but a lot of times. I like to put frames around my works because I think it makes it look a little bit more finished, a little bit more complete. Okay, so I'm going to go fast. Again, you guys can take your time. Make sure you cut away from yourself, nice and straight. I'm going fast for the sake of time. Okay. And you guys can always pause the video or rewind it if you need to. And if you're watching this video, you're either first grade and you missed Zoom for this week, or you are second grade and you don't have a Zoom. Okay, so now I'm going to get my white paper ready, my other piece of paper, and I'm going to draw what's called a spiral or a snail shell. If you had me for a kindergarten, we talked about different types of lines, and we made a snail shell design. So I'm going to start with my pencil. Actually, you know what? I might have to use a Sharpie because you guys are not going to see the pencil. So I'm going to go nice and light on the outside, like I'm making a circle, but I'm not making a circle. I'm going in and in. And this is going to help me make my snail design. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue. You might have to glue it a little bit more as you're going because it might dry. I'm going to add my glue stick right on top of that spiral, or snail shell as we call it in art class. And you're going to start by making a pattern. If you want to do warm, warm, cool, warm, warm, cool, or cool, cool, warm, cool, cool, warm, you can do that. I'm just going to do warm and cool. So I'm going to do warm, cool, warm, cool, warm, cool. Oh, my glue's still tacky. Oops, I'm the wrong one. Cool. And notice how my pieces are overlapping a little bit. Overlapping means it's on top of it just a little bit. You don't want your spaces to be like that. You don't want to see that line. So I'm overlapping them just a little bit so that you don't see the line and it looks nice and neat. And see how this is turning? My squares are also turning with it, giving it a little bit of movement. Make it look like it's moving. And I'm staying on my line, and Miss Gao is going fast so that you guys can do yours. You can always pause it. if you want to watch me do it and it's too fast. Warm, cool, warm, cool, warm, cool, warm, cool, and warm. There we go. There's my snail. Pretty awesome. I actually kind of like it better than this one that I created before. I like that. It looks really cool. There's my collage. So if you want to, guys, you can also add a piece of paper. I just added a scrap piece of purple paper at the end, or you can just use the paper that you have. You want to make it a little bit straight. I should have done that first. There. And what I did was I took a Sharpie or a black marker or whatever color you want, and I just made a V, letter V, on top. I added 2 circles, and then I made his little eyes. You can put his eyes looking in, you know, one direction or the other. I just put them like that, added little eyelids, and then I added a little smile. You can do a big smile, maybe with some teeth and a tongue, or you can just have like a half a smile, whatever you guys like. And then I took my colors that I used for this and I just added a little bit of a frame just to make it look like a finished work of art. So, or maybe I'll just do a different color instead of the color I used. I just used the side of my marker and I just made it kind of like a wavy line. I might not have enough room down here, but I can at least do it on the side. And then maybe I'll do purple, why not, next to the green, just for a little bit of color. If you guys want, you can also color this white paper before you add your snail so that it's a different kind of background. You're welcome to do that instead of just plain white, but I like the way that plain white looks because it makes this stand out more. So there is your Henry Matisse collage for today. I can't wait to see all of your snails. Make sure you take a picture and you send it to Miss Gao through Class Dojo or on Canvas through the chat. I can't wait to see you guys. Bye-bye.